just got off the practice field, and hopefully we can get some good stuff out of this. But good to see you guys.
David Kleininger with the first one.
How's it going, Sat? Dave with the Post and Courier here. Thanks for doing this. Looking at your wide receivers through this spring, what do you like best about this group, and what do you maybe not like the most about this group?
I think that we have a lot of guys that can do different things. I like just the versatility of the group. There's 5 or 6 of them that are working really hard. I think I have no issues with any of them, but there's 5 or 6 that are totally different right now from a preparation standpoint. The way they attack practice, the way that they're in here watching tape, watching film is very important to them. So I think the nucleus of the group is headed in a really good direction. Coach Stepp's done a really nice job of getting these guys prepared, and I think there's some young kids that are learning, and I think these guys, these core guys, are going to bring the whole group up. But I think that we have to continue to get better from a physicality standpoint on the perimeter, and we have to be able to win, versus press coverage a little bit better. But as a whole group, I'm pleased with the direction in which we're going.
Also, Sat, I mean, looking at these guys, there's really not one known guy that is returning. Is that kind of an advantage for the rest of the guys, because somebody's going to have to end up leading the team in catches and yards?
Exactly. I think that they all see an opening. They all understand that it's not just going to be a one-man show. We're not just trying to direct the ball to one guy. So that's a great point. I haven't thought of it from that standpoint. But, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys catching balls and a bunch of different types of balls, deep balls, short balls on the run. So, I think the group has a chance. And, again, I just really like the work ethic and how they're working. And to play that position in this offense, you've got to have a nice brain on you, because you got to study all the different formations and personnel groupings and spacing and timing, and they've done a really nice job of that. And then Coach Stepp, again, just his first year in the offense as well. I can't commend him enough.
Ben Portnoy.
Coach, I heard you talking about on the radio last night kind of about, how this might kind of mimic what Coach Brady has done in the past and kind of what you want it to look like. In terms of that and the fit with the running backs, obviously you got a couple of guys that can play. I mean, how do you kind of envision that? Do you see it as a one lead back, mixing guys in? How do you kind of, envision what you want to do with that? And I know you got a while to make those decisions, but
we got a lot of guys in that room that can make plays. I think, everybody knows Marshawn, everybody knows Kevin, and, we got the young guys, Amos. We got guys, that we signed last year coming in. And then I think Z White really has just come on. And we challenged him first couple of days with ball security. He did a PowerPoint presentation to the offense. It was really good, well done. And he's really, taken ownership in his ball security. He's done a really nice job. He's been very productive. He shows up every day. He's tough. He doesn't miss a rep. He's accountable. He catches the ball well out of the backfield. He's got unbelievable energy. So we're really excited about Z on top of the other guys that we have coming back. And as far as using them in the offense, I think that, again, we have guys that we can hand the ball off to 35 times a game. We have guys that we can throw the ball out of the backfield and use as, receiver types as well. So I think the multiplicity of that group, I think as you talk about, bringing our wide receivers on, I think that group, as far as getting your best guys on the field, can allow you to use some personnel groupings to get multiple backs on there at times, because they do catch the ball so well and they are very explosive when they get the ball in their hands. So trying to mimic Joe's offense, we'll never do that. I mean, we'll try, but they had some really good dudes playing that year. But it's going to resemble it, and the philosophy and the foundation is definitely going to look a lot like LSU did that year.
Kind of followed up on that. I know quarterbacks are asked to do a lot in this system and a lot of reads and checks, and just in terms of teaching that, and how have guys kind of taken to that, and what is, at least from your side of things, what's kind of the process in terms of teaching that and kind of the philosophy with that?
I mean, it's a grind. It's day by day, especially with we have all young guys in that quarterback room that have never done this before, and so just teaching them, one, they have to learn defenses, and they have to learn fronts, and they have to learn like what a Mike linebacker is, and what a nickel is, and what dime personnel is, and what safety rotation is, like all these little things that you take for granted. That I'm sure they know all that. You have to reteach that and start from the ground up. So. That's been the first part of the process, and they've really, again, a lot like the wideouts. I mean, quarterbacks are gym rats by nature. They've worked really hard. They've grinded through the spring, grinded through some really tough installs, and I'm excited where they are from a mental standpoint. Again, each day there's things that happen that you just scratch your head because they are young, right? But I do love the eagerness, and I do love the energy, and I do love how they're attacking each day. And I do see a lot of productivity in the future. I think, Luke has done a really nice job of, we're forcing him to not use his legs. If they get near him, it's a sack. And so it's forcing him to have to try to get the ball out on time and not take sacks and have to use his arm, as opposed to, we all know he can use his legs. We all know he can run. So I think that's been one of the really good things to, to see happen and take place and grow throughout the spring thus far. But very pleased, again, like the other positions, with where that group's going.
Greg Hadley.
Hey, Marcus. It's Greg Hadley with the State. Just shifting gears a bit, I was talking with your dad a couple weeks back, and he mentioned, you kind of wearing him down, letting you play Pop Warner football when you were pretty young. I was just curious, what do you remember from your first memories of football, getting into the sport?
My dad was always at practice. My mom would drive me 25 minutes across the county to play when I was 6 years old. And I just remember we played 5-2 monster defense, and I was the monster backer. And we played like a single wing offense, and I was the wing back. And when we threw the ball, they would hand me the ball, and I got to throw it. But those were the early memories. It was awesome. Played for the Loudon Grasshoppers. We were a tough squad.
And then when did you kind of realize that you wanted to follow your dad into coaching?
Early on, whenever you become cognizant enough of your ability to know that, okay, I'm probably not going to play at South Carolina or Tennessee or Florida or anywhere like that. I probably need to go play some football, go to the FCS level. I knew I wanted to be a coach when I was in 5th grade, probably. Thought I was going to be my dad's replacement in high school. And then as you get older and you get in college, you realize, wow, this college thing's a pretty good deal. And so I've known for a long time this is what I want to do. This is a passion, and I've been blessed to be able to do it in some really good places.
Dick Cox.
Hi, Coach. What have you been most pleased with this spring, and what's going to be your biggest concern going into fall camp?
I've been, again, pleased with, this sounds like this is not an arrogant statement, but we have overloaded these guys with information and plays and different plays and timing and all that stuff, just on purpose to see what they can handle. So I've been pleased with all the things that they can do and what they've been able to do and how they've worked and went about their business. The biggest issue, I think, at any offense is you have to have really strong quarterback play, and we're so young at that position that I know that there's going to be days where we are going to jump off the screen with productivity. And like any young group, it's going to be up and down. There's going to be days and times and parts of a game that you're just going to want to pull your hair out. So that's what that's what keeps me up at night, is just understanding that that's coming. There's a train coming for us. There's going to be a lot of good, but we got to be able to handle and manage the bad and make sure that it's not detrimental to wins and losses.
Rick Henry.
Hey, Marcus. Rick Henry, WIS-TV here in Columbia. You just alluded to it, how much you've loaded onto the guys. And I know when we talked to you before, you said you had installed a lot of your offense. Well, what percentage have you installed? And as a unit, a total unit, how well have they grasped it? And what kind of head start does that give you going into the fall?
We've got everything there's really not I make fun of myself when we put way too much in, but we've put everything in, even end of game situations, final plays, we did 9 2-point plays today. So we got a head start on an inventory for 2-point plays. I think we're, just an arbitrary number of 1 to 100. I'd say we operate about 65 to 70% success right now. I think the ups and downs of the different position groups and the different combinations of guys that play in spring ball that may not play with each other when the season comes, I think the inconsistencies start to arise. But I know they're grasping it. They can sit there, and if you give them time to think about it, they can tell you the correct answers. But when you get out there on the field and the bullets start flying, sometimes it's a little bit of a slow response. So there's no way in the world we will ever carry this much into a season. Like, we'll take this and what do we do well, and this is what we're going to do, and move forward from there. So I don't want y'all thinking that we're going to take pride in having big call sheets and things like that, and our kids won't be able to operate and play. We're going to shrink this thing down a lot so our guys can go out there and execute. But again, it hasn't slowed many of them down.
Colin Taylor.
Marcus, you mentioned the running backs, but just how vital are they going to be in the pass game, and how often are you going to incorporate them into that?
They're very vital from just the protection and then catching the ball out of the backfield. We will rely on them heavily for production in the pass game. Whether it be the screens, quick passing game, getting them out and play action pass, like all the little nuances of the passing game where they fit in. We're going to maximize them and lean on them early. I mean, what helps a young quarterback? A good run game, a good running back, a 5-yard check down that turns into 20, screen passes, getting the ball out of his hands. So they're crucial and vital in our success early on, in my opinion.
And I think Coach Stepp mentioned in his media availability, you guys have a lot of different option routes. Is that something you took from Coach Brady, and how important are those going to be for y'all and trying to open things up and exploit different coverages?
That's crucial. I mean, there's, option routes, and as you move, like everybody's running those option routes right now. As you move forward and you get into the season, there's going to be 1 or 2 guys that run those routes just because the quarterback has to understand the body language. And if he's leaning this way, he's going to do this. If he puts his foot in the ground this way, he's going to do this. So to allow the quarterback to have the proper anticipation and timing, like there'll be minimal guys running those option routes. But yes, they are very important in what we do from a passing game standpoint.
Hale.
How involved has Xavier Legette been with you guys this spring? I know there have been some receivers who had to miss time throughout, but what has he been able to do a whole lot or much at all?
He's been limited, just working hard to get back and get healthy. But I don't have a great feel for him right now. He's not been out there enough where I could really tell you one way or the other. He is again working hard mentally, and he's working hard, in the training room. But he's still not back to where he wants to be, where he can get out there and compete at a level that he's expected to compete at.
Josh Kendall.
Marcus, some clarification on the PowerPoint presentation. Zaquandre did that on ball security, and was that an assignment from you guys, or did he take that upon himself to do?
Yeah, he had a couple issues early on, and we were in a unit meeting, and he had no idea. I was like, and Z White came up to me today, guys, and he said he wanted to do a PowerPoint presentation for you guys on Thursday about ball security and have video and all that stuff, and everybody was laughing. And then sure enough, before I could even go tell him, hey, you really are going to do this, he had it done. I mean, it was professionally done. He used pictures of me yelling and screaming. He used pictures of Monterio carrying the ball with good ball security at Tennessee, bad ball security at Tennessee. So he put some fun into it, but he put a lot of work into it. And it's amazing how his ball security, knock on wood, has continued to improve each day, and just the importance he's put on that. Because if he can take care of the football, he can do some really, really nice things for us this year.
Yeah, obviously Kevin and Marshawn are the guys that we think of as carrying most of the load in the fall. What does he give you? What does Zaquandre give you that's different or better, or will allow him to play?
I think his explosiveness with the ball. I think, again, catching a 5-yard route and turning it into a 20-yard route. I think just he's so productive. Now, he gets a little crazy sometimes. Some of his cuts, his brain thinks he can do some things that he really may not be able to do. He should just put his foot in the ground and get the first down. But he's just so electric. And then his personality and his energy on the field. And, I will never, ever, ever overlook the fact that he has not missed one snap of spring ball, and he's carried it a ton, and he's got hit a ton. And he always shows up, and he's always there, and he's always dependable. I think just the mental toughness and the physical toughness of a kid like that with that much talent has a chance to show and again, showcase that for you all on Saturdays this next season. But I'm really excited about him, as you can tell.
Thanks, Mark.
Dick Cox.
For the spring game, how vanilla do you want to keep the playbook, and even especially if the weather's bad?
I got to be careful for recruiting here. If it's raining and it's all windy and all that stuff, we were loud. I was like, we'll run the belly 40 times and see how tough we are. But no, we're going to give our guys a chance to go out there and showcase and at least throw and catch a little bit and try to get the running backs in flow of the game. But we're not going to show a lot, like all the different, like you were talking about the choice routes and the motions and shifts and empty formations and all the things that we hope will give us an advantage in the season. Like we're going to line up. Me and Clayton have talked, like, let's just play ball. Let's not try to out scheme each other. Let's just hand the ball off, throw the forward pass, protect it, cover it, all those good things. So I think it'll be exciting, but we're not going to try to shock the world with a game plan by any stretch of the imagination.
Colin Taylor.
Marcus, what have you seen from the offensive line so far this spring, and what do they need to improve on as you get into the summer?
The one thing they got to improve on, like any offensive line, on this planet probably in college football is pass protection, especially the way that we throw the ball and the different launch points by the quarterback. That being said, I'm not down on their pass protection. I think they've done an excellent job. They're protecting young quarterbacks that aren't always where they're supposed to be. And sometimes if you were watching from a spaceship, you'd think that they weren't protecting that well, but it's really on us as quarterbacks getting in and out of the pocket where it's on us and it's not on them. I like their physicality. I love, again, kind of like Z White. Like, you can depend on our O-line. They're going to show up and they're going to practice, and they're tough guys, and mentally and physically. And there's too many spring practices in the last 21 years I've been a part of where you couldn't even have a spring game because you had 6 O-linemen. And these guys are hurt, and they come to work. And, I really, 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 really like the direction Coach Atkins has them going. Again, I think we got 7 or 8 guys that are on or above the line in this league, and I think that we can, they're going to allow us, again, with those running backs to protect those young quarterbacks early on.
Hale?
You mentioned how you and Coach White wouldn't try to do too much scheme-wise. When you guys have your scrimmages and that obviously nobody's watching, do you guys try to throw curveballs each other's way to kind of mix it up, or are y'all pretty set with the script and how you operate?
Now and then, I mean, we'll show something all week, and then during the scrimmage we'll try to throw a double move off of it, or we'll throw a little screen all week, and then we'll try to throw like a little pump off of it. And he'll give you a certain look to a certain formation all week, and you'll think you'll have a counter to it, and the first time you come out in that formation it'll be totally different. You're like, dang. And so there's some gamesmanship like any competitors would have, but we've known the great thing about it is we've known each other for so long. The communication's been unbelievable. Like, he'll say, hey, can you give me A, B, and C? I give him A, B, C. I can write on a script, hey, please give me cover 3 here, cover 2 here, cover 3, blitz me here, and it gets done. And a lot of places don't work like that. And so there's a trust and a high level of communication between the staff, which has been really cool this spring. That doesn't happen everywhere.
Phil Kornblit.
Hey, Coach, good morning or good afternoon. You mentioned physicality. Have you guys as a staff talked about this pending NCAA legislation, which is probably going to go through maybe today, that's going to impact fall practice, how physical football teams can be in practice, the type of drills you can't run in practice, and how that's going to impact the game moving forward?
It's like anything else. I think you're going to have to adjust. Coach Beamer's not really brought us in, and we've not discussed in detail the exact whatever is getting ready to change. We hear the rumblings, and you can read it on the social media what everybody's talking about. But I think that, like anything else, there was a time whenever the sky was falling when you couldn't just go knock the crap out of a wide out down the middle, and now it's a penalty, and we thought it was going to ruin the game, but it's really made the game better. So I think all these things that are happening are going to be done for the betterment of the game and the betterment of the student athlete, which is what we're here for. And so you can still be physical and not go out there and do crazy things. Like, you still have to practice physical, but I think that you can be safe in how you practice physical. And, Coach, we talked about out here, it was practice 13. That was one of the most physical practices we've had in all of spring. And it'd be easy for our guys to just shut it down right now, but they didn't. And so, we're going to pride ourselves on physicality. I know that's not the question you asked, but I think no matter what happens down the road, you can still find ways to be physical and safe.
Logan Jennings.
Hey, Coach, I know you mentioned that spring game earlier. I was just wondering if there were any plans right now on if that spring game is still happening despite the weather, or if the current plan is to maybe reschedule that. I
have no idea. That would be a Coach Beamer question. He told us earlier today, just be ready, be flexible, and when they put the ball down, let's roll, and that's what we'll do. I'm sorry, I don't have the information though, but I have no clue.
Gotcha, thanks.
Anything else for Coach? Good. All right.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.